All John Deacon can write is perfect pop songs. Need Your Lovin' Tonight, next on Crown Jewels. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to PLD Project's Crown Jewels. I'm your host, PLD, and this is, of course, the journey through Queen's catalog, bit by bit, song by song, version by version, as we try to discover which version of every song is the best version of that song, or the crown jewel version of that song, to put into our ultimate playlists. And, of course, I like to give a little notes, little quotes. I like to have some commentary on the different versions as well. This week's song, Need Your Loving Tonight. This is not going to be nearly as long of a monstrosity as last week's episode. We only have 2 versions to get through this week compared to the 41 I had to do last week. Need Your Lovin' Tonight still, though, a John Deacon pop classic. So let's get right into it. If you like this stuff, hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you want, you're on the audio side of things, leave that kind of 5-star review. Just anything to help me fight the algorithm, because the algorithm, I have no idea how to beat it. So I give up. It's up to you guys to help me. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, let's get into it now. Need Your Lovin' Tonight. It is written by, like I said, John Deacon. Features Freddie on lead and backing vocals, Brian on guitars and backing vocals, John on bass guitar and acoustic rhythm guitar, Roger Taylor on drums and backing vocals. Now, those are the credits. I will say there is a quote from Brian in International Musician, October of 1981, which states that Freddie played the rhythm guitar, but I kind of feel like this might have been a misspeaking on Brian's part, or perhaps a mistranslation or a miscopy. I'm not certain, because it does feel like John would play acoustic rhythm guitar on his own song rather than Freddie learning it for that song. But I mean, I gotta leave it open to discussion until it ever gets clarified, if ever. I will throw that out there as the rumor that Brian did state Freddie played the acoustic guitar, despite the credits stating John. To finish that quote, since I usually give you quotes and notes and all that good stuff, Brian said the harmony style was a change, but the way we played it was very much us. You see, that was a bit too easy. I thought of that as a very stock item as far as the guitar playing. There wasn't much challenge to that. That came together quite easily. It's interesting the way it's mixed, because it's mixed half electric and half acoustic, which I guess also gives you that Beatles sound. But it was just a case of leaving on the rhythm guitar, which Freddie did. Also, other notes from the song: issued as a single in Japan and US when it hit number 44. It was not released as a single in the homeland, in the UK. As far as live performances go, it was played sporadically throughout the entire tours of 1980 and 1981, which is where the live performance in Argentina comes from. Not all the time, though, and it was definitely dropped after this tour, never to be seen or heard again, unfortunately, because I think this actually is a nice, fun, live piece of music. All right, as I said, we have 2 versions to listen to. There's a third version out there. We do have the album version, like I said, a unreleased live version from 1981, so it is from a bootleg. According to QueenVault.com, there is a South African Play the Game 12-inch acetate, which does contain a slightly edited version of the song. So this technically does exist. I've never heard it. I've never seen it out there anywhere, but it doesn't sound like it's a whole lot different. Queen Vault describes it as just editing a few seconds from the beginning of the song, editing the opening through Freddie's "Hey, hey, hey" lines, which you'll hear in just a moment. So obviously we're not listening to that. I'm not going to count it as part of the Crown Jewels because I can't rank it. But it doesn't sound like I would want to rank it anyway, because just slicing off a couple seconds, I'd rather have the full version. So, alright, so let's get to it. How are you going to listen? Well, I don't want any strikes or anything like that, so if you look in the show notes, you will find a Google Doc, a link to a Google Doc, which will have links to YouTube versions of the songs we're going to listen to. So when I tell you to, I'll have you pause me, click on that link, listen to the track, come back, and then we can talk about it. First up, it's the album version. Go find that link and come back for more. And there you have it. You heard the clip. That's where the "hey, hey, hey" comes in, right in the first 3 seconds, 5 seconds. That's what they edited off in the acetate. So, all right. The version you just listened to, though, a purely perfect pop song in my eyes with a bit of a rock edge. It takes a little bit of that 50s, 60s kind of pop Beatles did very well, adds a little bit of that distortion to it, a little more. Brian's guitar playing is always going to be a little more rocking than that of the earlier pop times. Very simple song, very effective song. Great opening crash. Boom! Down it gets you right in between the eyes. ready to go. Speaking of Between the Eyes, Between the Lines, a great Freddie delivery in this song. I love his vocals throughout the entire song. He's got those moments when he goes up a little higher, between the lines. It gets that really emotional side of Freddie's delivery. He can make the phone book sound good if he wanted to, as far as I'm concerned. I love the heavy riff during the bridge section. That boom, 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 boom. Gets really kind of down and dirty. Backing vocals come in a little bit on the bigger choruses just prior to the solo, but they're not very much throughout. There's a lot of this is not a very Queen-ish track overall, and I say that as it's more of, like I said, it's like a pure pop from the 60s, a little harder edge, but there are those Queen moments. Brian comes in with some orchestrations in his solo, which is, by the way, a great rocking guitar solo, but he has orchestrations at the end, very Queen. Backing vocals come in on the bigger choruses, very Queen there, but generally speaking, they're kind of hit and go with the hit and run, I should say, with the Queen trademarks. Instead they kind of pull it back a bit, which I think is effective for this song and effective for John Deacon songs in general. But really, what a great rock number, what a great pure pop rock number. I hope you enjoyed it. But all right, let's get on now. Let's move on to the live in Argentina version. Click on that link, come back, and we'll talk about that one. Okay, for a bootleg, it's not horrible audio quality, but it's not the best either, which always puts a strike against it as far as I'm concerned. You really have to do a lot. The song has to do a lot in order for me to put a bootleg over a more official studio release as far as that goes, because the mixes are just never quite as good, obviously. But this is a pretty proper rendition of the track. The tempo definitely feels a little sped up, or owe that to adrenaline and just rock energy. It happens most of the time with the band, and I'm here for it. Nothing wrong with that for sure. Freddie doesn't go quite to all the high notes on this one. Stays a little safe at times, but as always, Roger's backing vocals are much clearer and together, so that works it. That works it out quite a bit. I know Brian does backing vocals live, but his always kind of tend to fall to the background. Roger just comes through pretty clear. The three of them sound great together, so it definitely works. Additional thing, I do like Freddie going to the piano for the guitar solo section. Does add a little more depth to it, even if it's just really honestly for 10-15 seconds before he gets back up again. And I do love that good proper Roger Taylor ending, the good proper the way he drums up that ending, being up the big power chord at the end with Brian crashing down on it. It's a great version, I'm not gonna lie. I like the concert version quite a bit. I think the band should have played it more. I think it was kind of fun. I think it's definitely a song that works live, especially as you speed it up and keep that energy going. Definitely it's a fun sing along too, so I'm not sure why they cut it out, but I guess it only hit number 44 on the charts and wasn't that successful overall. They never really toured the US after 1982, and so when they toured the UK and Europe, they didn't really have a single to promote as far as this goes. So too many hits, too much time, but I wish it would be brought back up occasionally. I think it'd be a fun concert piece for sure. All right, let's move on. Now that is it. The only two versions we're going to listen to, so we got to start ranking them, and which is the Crown Jewel version, of course. Well, the Crown Jewel version first. We only have the two versions, so I'm not going to try to draw this out, be dramatic. My version is the album version. Barely it's the album version. The only reason why I say that is I wish we had a officially studio version, officially recorded live version, so we had a great proper mix of the track. Otherwise, it's a little bit noisy and sludgy at times. I think the performance might be better in the live version as far as adding the piano go, adding the big ending to it. Some of Freddie's notes are better in the studio versions, but they're still very passable in the live version. It's really, really a close call. I really could see it going either way, quite frankly, quite honestly. But I just think for just a smidge, I'm going to have to go and give it to the album version. All right, let's give this song a rating on a scale of 1 to 11, because we always turn things up to 11 here on PLD Projects. Need Your Lovin' Tonight. Words that slide, I'm going to give it a solid 9. I really, really do like this one. I think it's, even though it's nothing, like, you don't point this song out as going, this is great musicianship, this is Queen at their best, this is, no, but it is, there's something to be said about simplicity done right, and this is simplicity done perfectly pure pop song. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that phrase. I'll just say it once more. Perfectly pure pop song, or pure perfect pop song, whatever you want to say. It's a very, very good simplistic song, and it's fun. However, that means it does not slide into my top 10 Queen-related tracks of all time, because all of them right now are at 10.5 or 11. So, Need Your Lovin' Tonight, still a solid banger, but not quite going to fit that top 10. All right, that's it, folks. That's it for this week's episode. Like I said, not nearly the monstrosity of last week's. Next week's, we might get a monstrosity again because we're doing another big hit single, the other big hit single from this album, Crazy Little Thing Called Love. Freddie doing his Elvis impression, pretty much. So hope you stay tuned for then. Hopefully it'll be out next week. There's a chance because it is big. I might have to take 2 weeks with it. Although I said that with another One Bites the Dust and was able to find the time. So who knows? Who knows? Either way, I hope you stick around. Hope you come back next week or the week after, depending on when it is. Just keep an eye on the community notes, and I will definitely post whether I'm going to post it this week or not. If you want any more comments, you can join us at patreon.com/PLDprojects. Austin Cadell, Brendan Buckingham, great crew over there. Like I said, like, subscribe, all that jazz. But until next time, I'll always need your loving tonight. See you next week, guys. Bye now.